The circumstances of life have a way of isolating and disconnecting us from others, from the church, even from our family at times. We are currently in a position of somewhat of isolation, this quarantine. But I feel that for many, this current pandemic quarantine is simply a forced physical reality of what you've already been feeling emotionally. You understand the feeling of being alone. Now, in our previous video, I shared a number of scriptures with you that talks about how the Lord is going to be with us. I want to take that further by sharing that when Paul was speaking to the Corinthian church, he starts out 1 Corinthians chapter 10 by speaking about the Hebrew ancestors and the trials that they went through during their exodus from Egypt into the wilderness. And twice in the first of the chapter, he mentioned that these things happened to them were our examples, that these things happened for an example to us. He says in verse 10, he says, don't murmur like they murmured, talking about their grumbling and complaining. And it's easy for us in a time like this to murmur, to complain, to get frustrated, to become angry. When we face great adversity, it's easy to get discouraged, to complain, and even become angry in times like this. So Paul is sharing this with them. He's sending them down memory lane to think through their history, think about the history of the Hebrew people. And then he says this in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 13. He says, there has no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But God is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with the temptation also make a way to escape, comma, that ye may be able to bear it. Now, this is one of my favorite scriptures in the Word. I love this scripture. You could just really sneak a preach on just about any line of it. No temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. I love that because if I'm going through something, I know that other people have gone through it. God is faithful. I can shout about that right there. God has always been faithful. He's not going to suffer me to be tempted above that you're able. That tells me that if I'm going through, then I know I can make it through because He's not going to tempt me beyond what I have the potential to get through. He knows what I'm facing. And then that last part there, we really get excited about this because that God who's faithful is going to, with the temptation, also make a way to escape. Now, this is really running the aisles shouting time right here because God's going to make a way to escape. Now, I want you to notice that there's no period after the word escape, because if there was a period there, we would love this verse a lot more. We could really get excited about that. But there's not a period, it's a comma. And I'm no English major, but I do know this. When there's a comma, that means that there's something else coming. And the something else coming in this situation says, that ye may be able to bear it. We would prefer an escape, period. Lord, get me out of this. I want to wake up tomorrow and the pandemic is going to be resolved. Let me see President Trump and the coronavirus team out there saying it's over. Rush out to the mall. Rush out to your favorite restaurant. Let's get out of it. I want to escape, Lord. You know, I'm stuck in this house with all my kids driving me crazy. And I know some of y'all have that, but I'm having a great time with my kids. In case my wife happens to watch this, we're having a great time here in the house. We want an escape. We want to be out of the trouble. We want to be out of it. But you know, that's not really what this verse is saying at all, is it? Because it says that He's with the temptation going to make a way of escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So therefore, that means that the escape is going to be a little bit different than what we had in mind. You see, God doesn't always allow you to escape from it. Sometimes he produces your escape in it. I'll say that again. God doesn't always allow you to escape from it. Sometimes he produces your escape in it. I want to say to us today that God does not want his people and his church to fear the things of this world. He doesn't want us to fear trials and storms and adversity. He doesn't want us to fear diseases and pandemics and cancers and leukemia and you name it. God does not want us to live in fear of all these things. And if God simply just removes every problem that we face, then that problem is gone, but we're still afraid of it. But if God produces our escape while we are in it, then we have a different perspective altogether. And the next time a problem comes around, and they will, we're going to face it a little bit differently because we're going to know God has already taken me through this before. God has taken me through trials before, so I can rest assured and know that I'm not in this alone. God is with me. I'll get into this some more on our next video. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, as well as their friend Daniel, all had experiences that will demonstrate what I want to share with you. God is looking to give us an escape in the storm, in the trial, in the pandemic, in the situation we're in right now. So we're not going to be afraid of the things, but our trust is going to be in him, the one who is walking through this with us. Friends, you're not in this alone. God bless you.